We've got to get away. We've got to run away.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the infamous and shocking times famous faces spoke candidly in public about or acted against problematic relatives.
I think he knew I was upset with him, and then the worst part about it was I didn't get that closure.
Number 10. Jennette McCurdy on Deborah McCurdy. Bursting onto the acting scene in 2000, Jennette became one of the most well-known child performers in the industry after starring in iCarly. Yet between 2017 and 18, she retired from professional acting. Later on, we would discover the heartbreaking reason why.
I said a lot of things, a lot of uncomfortable truths that are, I think, difficult things to say. The more uncomfortable something was for me to put on the page, the more important it felt for me to put it on the page.
Jennette spoke in interviews and in her 2022 memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died, about the alleged abuse she sustained from her mother, Deborah. She pushed Jennette into acting, living vicariously through her with Deborah's own younger acting ambitions. On top of this, she also subjected her daughter to intrusive examinations and emotional abuse.
I started wondering if something was off, because I could sense concern in people around me, and I started piecing together, I don't know if reality is mom's reality, but I didn't know how to come to terms with that.
Jennette has spoken honestly about the struggles this experience had on her, especially after Deborah's passing in 2013. Thankfully, Jennette's doing much better today.
I wouldn't want to just be like emotionally eking or trauma eking. I really wanted to find the structure and the story and the entertaining elements. And so I think having that experience of therapy where I processed everything prior to writing the book was very, very important.
Number 9. Cole Sprouse on Melanie Wright. As one half of the iconic identical twin acting duo alongside Dylan, Cole has spent nearly his whole life in the limelight since making his screen debut less than a year after his birth in 1993. Yet away from performing, the home life of the Sprouse brothers was difficult.
And I think as I've aged and I've looked back on a lot of the circumstances of that entire environment, I see a person that grapples with mental illness, drug abuse, but primarily narcissism.
Cole has spoken in interviews about their experience with their mother, Wright. She pushed the twins into acting.
I mean, it started really as a means to put bread on the table and also allow my mother at the same time to be a mother, but to make her main focus and her job our careers.
According to Cole, she had substance use disorder and was driven by narcissistic need to be recognized as an artist. Then, Wright reportedly lost all the money the twins had made from their earliest roles. Due to the struggles, the twins' father, Matthew, was given forced custody after their divorce. Since then, the Sprouses have had no contact with Wright.
When it rains on everyone's roofs. That's how it goes. It takes a village, man. And selfishness that is encouraged very much, like I said, from the industry, just doesn't really work. Doesn't really work for being a mother.
Number 8. Ariel Winter on Chrysula Workman.
It was really painful for me to watch my mom go on news outlets and go on Dr. Phil and kind of spread things everywhere when it's really just private family business.
4 years after making her big screen acting debut, Winter had her big break with the small screen's Modern Family and became a TV star. Yet in 2012, her sister Chanel Workman applied for guardianship of Winter after allegations she was subjected to abuse from her mother Chrysula. In 2015, a year after Chanel got guardianship, Winter was legally emancipated.
It has been very sad for me, but at the same time, it's been much better for me emotionally and physically to be on my own and have a better, safer household and support system.
Over the years since, Ariel has disclosed her dire situation with Chrysula. Winter spoke about having a lonely childhood, practically in isolation, as Chrysula warned her about other girls and even controlled her diet. At the same time, her mother physically and emotionally abused her. Chrysula also dictated what Winter wore, often making her dress more provocative. But thankfully, due to the good people around her, Winter is doing better.
So I wanted to go to college since I was very young. I've worked very hard. I go to real high school, and I do my best to move forward in my future that way. I would love to be a lawyer, and I've applied for college, and I'm going through that process right now.
Good for you.
Number 7. Christina Aguilera on Fausto Wagner Xavier Aguilera.
Feeling powerless is the worst feeling in the world. Your home needs to feel like your sanctuary, and it wasn't that way for me.
Before she became one of the most talented pop singers around, Christina grew up in a turbulent household, which she has spoken about publicly over the years. Back then, she often moved around due to her father's enrollment in the U.S. Army. But on top of that unsettlement, Fausto was said to have taken out his issues on the family by physically and emotionally abusing Christina and other members.
I mean, it's terrifying, and it's like all you want to do is help, but a lot of times, even when you call the authorities, you don't get the help that you need, and then the door shuts and you're with your abuser again.
The singer stated music gave her a path to escape the horrid situation. Eventually, her mom and father divorced, but Christina has disclosed the trauma of that upbringing, which is still with her decades on. In 2000, she briefly let Fausto back into her life before becoming estranged once more.
At 42, I'm still affected by this. It's under the surface. Trauma never leaves you. You just figure out ways to try and heal it, and to me, it's therapeutic to speak about it.
Number 6. Demi Lovato on Patrick Martin Lovato. Since being a teenager, Demi has juggled the life of an actor and musician successfully. However, their relationship with their father Patrick has been less positive. Demi has spoken about the conflict within themselves after Patrick passed away in 2013.
I've done therapy where I sit in front of an empty chair and I share my truth with the empty chair as if he was sitting there. And it was extremely healing for me.
They stated that while he wanted to be a good man, he was abusive and he struggled with mental health issues. This experience led to Demi creating the song Father, which explored their mixed emotions towards him.
You did your best, or did you? Sometimes I think I hate you.
In 2018, Demi's mother Diana de la Garza released her memoir, which detailed the abusive behavior she sustained from Patrick, which caused her to lose a finger. After leaving him, she met Eddie de la Garza, who became a positive force in Demi's life.
And when my mom married my stepdad, he still had this huge heart where he would say, "I'm so glad Eddie's taking care of you and doing the job that I wish I could do."
Number 5. Britney Spears on Jamie, Lynn, and Jamie Lynn Spears. In 2019, news leaked about Britney's conservatorship. After she was put on an involuntary psychiatric hold in 2008, a group led by her father, Jamie, was legally put in charge of Britney's affairs.
I honestly, still to this day, don't know what really I did, but the punishment of my father, I wasn't able to, see anyone or anything.
In 2021, after getting public support with the Free Britney campaign, Britney went public about the conservatorship, criticizing her family in the process. She said her support system of Jamie and her sister Jamie Lynn let her down as they took advantage and controlled every aspect of her life.
To me, it was like they secretly, honestly liked me being the bad one, like I was messed up, and they kind of just liked it that way.
While her mother Lynn publicly supported the end of the legal agreement, Britney stated that the conservatorship was her idea originally. Soon after this all came to light, the end of Britney's conservatorship was granted by the courts.
After nearly 14 years, it took a judge in this courthouse today less than 40 minutes to decide that Britney Spears' conservatorship was no longer required. Her attorney assuring the court that safety nets are in place to protect Britney personally and financially and put her in a position to succeed.
Number 4. Macaulay Culkin on Kit Culkin. In the industry of child stars, none have perhaps been as successful as Macaulay thanks to his success in the Home Alone franchise. Yet, away from the silver screen, home life was difficult for him and his father, Kit.
I don't know, my father was very good at breaking people's spirits and holding them down. And he did that to all of us, including my mother.
After his parents split up, a custody battle erupted between them, with Macaulay and his siblings wanting to be with his mom, Patricia Brentrup. He then removed his mother and father from his trust fund to protect its large contents.
I think that it's best to leave this job to an adult who has experience in these matters. Okay?
I don't think so.
Since then, he's been estranged from Kit. Macaulay has stated in interviews that his father, who was an aspiring actor when he was younger, was jealous of his success, so he was mentally and physically abusive to his son and the rest of the family.
He wanted me to know and my brother to know that he was in charge and that if he didn't want us to sleep on a bed, we weren't going to sleep on a bed.
Number 3. Drew Barrymore on John Drew and Jade Barrymore. With father John Drew being a professional actor, Drew should have been protected when she became a child star after E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Instead, she underwent one of the most turbulent upbringings thanks to John's violence. When he split with Drew's mother Jade, it got worse for her. Jade was irresponsible and took young Drew to clubs often. This opened up Drew to drink and use substances.
I had nothing but freedom up until that point, dancing on tables at Helena's and Studio 54 and Limelight and every club on the planet and partying it up, doing whatever I wanted whenever I wanted.
By the time she was in her early teens, she had been in rehab more than once and had a long stint at a psychiatric hospital. She eventually moved in with singer David Crosby and his family to help her stay sober.
Does Crosby ever say, listen, Drew, it's bedtime, time to go to sleep? Or
yeah.
He did. He had rules.
Yeah,
he was a dad.
And I felt bad for them. They had to take in this kid and they weren't parents themselves.
Drew was later granted emancipation. While she's never completely forgiven Jade, Drew stated she was financially supporting her in 2023. Number 2. Michael Jackson on Joe Jackson. While professionally he was the king of pop and one of the most celebrated performers ever, Michael's personal life was vastly different. In 1993, he was interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, where he discussed the methods of his father Joe.
Were you scared of him? Very frightened. There's been times when he'd come to see me and I would get sick. Really? I'd start to regurgitate. As a child or as an adult? Both.
During the Jackson 5 days, Joe would watch them perform over and over with a belt in his hand. If he didn't like what he saw, he reportedly struck his children. Or as Michael later called it, tear you up.
Really get you. And I got it a lot of times, but I think my brother Marlon got it the most because he had a hard time at first, and he tried so hard.
Michael also spoke about his lonely childhood under Joe's thumb. Instead of being able to play, he had to go to the studio to rehearse or record. In 2003, Joe admitted to whipping, but specified that he didn't use a stick, as that implied he beat his children.
And I was so fast, he couldn't catch me half the time, but when he would catch me, oh my God, it was bad.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Judy Garland on Ethel Marion Gum. With her celebrated film work in The Wizard of Oz and an outstanding music career, Garland is one of the most beloved icons of the entertainment industry. Yet, not only did the MGM studio allegedly mistreat her, but so did her mother, Ethel Gum.
Did you have a stage mother, as we have heard about the stage mothers? One that wouldn't quit.
From an early age, Gum was overbearing when it came to performing. As detailed by Garland to Barbara Walters in 1967, if she felt too ill to perform, Gum would threaten her daughter with violence.
She would sort of stand in the wings when I was a little girl, and if I didn't feel good, if I was sick to my tummy, she'd say, "You get out and sing, or I'll wrap you around the bedpost and break you off short."
She also described her mother as very jealous and wicked. It's even been said that it was Gum who supplied Garland with substances, some to perk her up, some to help her sleep. This led to a lifelong dependence that resulted in Garland's passing in 1969.
No, I gotta sleep tonight.
Halpert will give you something for that later. Down the hatch.
What other incidents of family members being called out by celebrities did we miss? Let us know below.
Okay, I was like, trust me, there are people going to be coming to you wanting to know things about my life, but keep what should be private ours. Okay. All of a sudden, the next Thursday night, I'm looking at hard copy. It's a show in America that comes on, and there's my mom giving an escort through my bedroom.